Hello, this is Bwana from Bwana.tv, and today I'm going to be reviewing the iPhone 4. I've had this bad boy for about 2 weeks, and I want to thank Jim 48116 once again. He has donated the funds for me to use this and to buy this and to review it and share my information with you guys. You may have recalled that I stated in previous videos that I would not be purchasing an iPhone 4 because I was happy with my 3GS, and I put a caveat. I said if someone wants to provide a review unit, I'll be happy to review it. And lo and behold, Jim 48116 came through and allowed me to purchase this particular phone. All right, so the way I want to format this is pretty much the same way I've done my previous iPhone reviews. If you're curious about those, go check out my iPhone 3G review and my iPhone 3GS review. I reviewed both of those, and the original iPhone as well. I want to give you my first impressions. I want to talk a little bit about the features in the device, some of the pros and cons. I want to share with you the good things as well as the bad. And I've been using it for about 2 weeks, so I've been trying a little bit of everything. And I want to share with you my experiences that I had with those particular things, and not necessarily speculate. I want to give you first hands-on experience after a good amount of usage, and trying to beat it up already and hitting the microphone with it. But I don't have any good protection on it. I do have a bumper that I do use when I go out and travel. So in case I drop it on something, I'll have some protection. It won't be the best protection, but it's pretty much bare right now. So we will talk about this guy in extensive detail for the next, I don't know how long this is going to last. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy. So let's start with the first impressions. Just like the previous iPhone reviews, the iPhone 4 had a bumpy launch, and I was not exempt to the bumpiness. I did pre-order this, so I did get it a few days before everybody else did. I think I got it 2 days before the official day. And I had a unique situation in that I was using my wife's line, her particular phone number, to purchase it because her line was eligible for the upgrade, so I could get the cheaper price. So I went about things the wrong way. I'll take the blame for that. And it took almost the entire day, afternoon, to get it all resolved. I had to end up going to an AT&T store, and it was a learning experience for everybody. I had to essentially tell them how to fix it, which, I was happy I was able to come up with the solution. But essentially, iTunes wouldn't let me register. It wouldn't let me activate the phone no matter what I did. And it was because the process that I did was in the wrong order. I called the phone number. AT&T sent an email to everybody saying, if you want to use a different number than the number you ordered the phone with, which apparently other people did, call this number and we'll set you right up. I was like, okay, AT&T, I'll do just that. So I called them, and the woman on the line, she failed to tell me one important step. I was supposed to activate the phone through iTunes before doing anything, and I didn't. So the phone was new, bare, and everything, and I called her. She did SIM magic. I gave her numbers, and lo and behold, everything was messed up. So about 10 or 20 SIM cards later, we kept activating new SIM cards when I went to the AT&T store. The problem was that I absolutely had to activate this phone through iTunes with the number that I bought it with. There was no other way around it. So we did that, and then they were able to switch the SIMs back and forth. Like I said, guys, this was my first impression. It took literally the entire afternoon to get this thing activated. But once I got it activated, I was happy. And first off, let me tell you, I had a crowd around me in the AT&T store because I was one of the first ones around this area to have one. And the screen. They touted it as the Retina display. It's a very nice looking screen, guys. And this is the first thing that literally grabs your face and sucks it into the device, because it is absolutely gorgeous. And people at the store, they were just looking at the Connect to iTunes screen, and they were going, wow. They were going nuts because, it looks just that good. So first impressions wise, the screen is a wow factor. Now, as far as just overall look and feel and aesthetics, it is a very nice design. It is a unique design to have glass on both the front and back, is something that makes it feel very, very solid. It doesn't really feel like a phone. It feels like an art piece, if you will. And with that, this is kind of a negative. It kind of feels fragile. Like if I drop it, it's going to break everywhere and things. So you kind of like treat it real flimsy. Just really timid with it because you don't want to break the thing. So I was happy when I finally got a bumper that I had some kind of protection. So if I lay it flat down on my desk or I put it down, that it won't be hitting the glass and won't be scratching everywhere. So it has that artsy, that artistic, it's like a work of art almost. And that's, like I said, that's good and bad. The buttons feel very nice. I was happy to see that the home button and all of the other buttons were very easily accessible. And it was really easy to hold in the hand. I'm really happy with the weight. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. That I can hold it up to my ear for a long, long time and do a lot of good things. So first impressions wise, I was generally impressed, but I was scared. I was really, really scared, guys, because I thought I was going to drop it and break it. So in terms of improvements over the 3GS, the iPhone 3GS, I had the 32 gigabyte prior to having this one. And I still have it. My wife is using it. She's loving it. She had the 3G before this. And, she can now do picture messaging and multimedia stuff and, take videos. Stuff that I took for granted she's really enjoying now. And improvement-wise, I can't really say I noticed an improvement in terms of speed for general things. I think the 3GS and iPhone 4, in terms of speed and browsing and doing things, even though the iPhone 4 has better hardware, I think the speed factor was not as tremendous as the 3GS was over the 3G. If you go back and watch my iPhone 3GS review, you'll note that I was just drooling all over the speed improvements because it was dramatic. This is not as dramatic in terms of speed. They're about, for my purposes and the things that I use it for the most, they're almost about the same. So if you're looking for a huge speed improvement over the 3GS, I don't know if the iPhone 4 is going to give you that. But otherwise, the screen, like I said before, the screen is absolutely gorgeous. It blows anything on the 3GS and the 3G and all the other iPhones away. So when you look at the icons, when you read, especially when you read text, when you look at pictures, when you look at video, everything looks better. I'm not exaggerating. Everything looks better on this screen. And once you go back, and you really don't, the first impression, the wow factor kind of wears off after a while. But if you go back and hold in 3GS, again, you look at it, you go, wow. The iPhone 4 really does have a nice screen. Another improvement that the iPhone 4 has over the 3GS is the camera. I was shocked. I was literally shocked. I knew it had a higher megapixel than the 3GS, but I didn't think the lens would be that great. You guys may have seen on my YouTube channel, I did some test videos and I made some mistakes with the plastic on the back. We're not gonna rehash that, are we? Good. Okay, but I took some sample videos, which in my office, the white balance in here is pretty hard to do. But I took photos everywhere. I went outside while I was out, took self-portraits when I went out of town. And guys, this camera's great. The 3GS camera improvement over the 3G was good, but this one I think is a better quality, a better leap in terms of just gap. It's a huge leap in terms of quality, and I really I don't know if people realize that when shopping for iPhones and shopping for phones that this camera is really good. It's the best camera in my house right now. I no longer have my DSLR. I sold that. I do have my my Creative Vado HD here, which is still in the case right now. It takes better stills than that. In terms of HD video, they're about, I don't know. I don't want to call them the same, but it's right there with it. So since I got better still photos and I got really, really good HD video, this is the best camera in my house, and it's a phone. That says a lot. I'll show you guys. I'll take some sample photos, and I can put them up as a slideshow in iMovie if you guys want me to. Let me know in the comments if you want that. I can do that. It's a great camera, guys. So the 3GS camera is good. iPhone 4 camera is great. Yes. So while we're on the topic of the camera, let's talk a little bit more about that. The iPhone 4 features an HD back-facing camera. I always say back-facing. An HD back camera and a front-facing camera, which is VGA. And a lot of you noticed that the VGA camera was actually pretty good quality. And I was using the VGA camera for mobile videos more often than I was using the HD camera. But in terms of just, is it worth it? That's what I get questions, a lot of questions from people. Bwana, I know the iPhone 4 takes HD video, but is it worth it? Is it worth the upgrade? Should I stick with AT&T? Should I move from my other phone? Should I, I'm considering this phone. Is the HD video worth it? And let me tell you from a content producer who does HD video quite a bit. It is worth it. It is worth it. This guy, let me take it out of the case. It will replace one of these. Here comes the zip. Zip. It will replace one of these. This is a Creative Vido HD. I recently got this for my birthday. And I still use it. Don't think I don't use it, because I still use it. I've used it in a bunch of videos. This will replace this. Yes. And it offers more functionality. Now this is what, $100? You get these for $100, $150 now. This is $300 or $200, $300. So it can replace it. And it's a phone. The HD quality is right up there with those point and shoot cameras. Now, they're not going to be better than, higher quality videos like this camcorder that I have right now. It's built to do a lot more than what these cameras can do. Although you really can't tell from my videos here. But it's built to do a lot more. But this is definitely worth it, guys. I was really excited when the iPhone was announced. And they talked about HD video capability, because I do a lot of it. And guys, it's worth it. It is definitely worth it if you are into HD video. So definitely consider that when making your decision. Now, one feature I've been dying to try, but I just haven't been able to because I haven't found anybody to call, is FaceTime. And Chris Perillo's been bothering me. He's been like, I've been trying to get you on FaceTime. I'm like, oops, been busy. And I have been busy. And I haven't been able to try FaceTime, so I can't talk to you guys about that. You can go watch other reviews which have done FaceTime. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to say it's good. I'm not going to say it's bad, because I've yet to use it. But FaceTime is something that is available on the iPhone 4. You can make video calls. And recently, an iPhone app called Fring was approved by Apple, which allows you to make video calls to any phone that has Fring, including Android and Blackberries. And you can do it over the 3G connection. So that's pretty cool as well. The front-facing camera is going to get some use with that. And I plan to try out Fring, and maybe I'll do a review on that. But, video calling is definitely going to make it on the iPhone 4, as well as other phones that have front-facing cameras. Another thing I want to discuss is the battery life. Sometimes battery life is one of the most important factors for people who are always on the go and want to have their phone work the entire day without constantly charging it. Because a lot of times when we're out with a mobile phone doing mobile things, we don't have access to an electrical outlet, or we don't have time to sit down and plug it into our computer, or we don't want to invest in an external charger. I was very, very happy to see that with my normal usage, I could get even more time out of the iPhone 4 than I did with my 3GS. So to me, that's an improvement. That is worth an upgrade. And I say my usage patterns because the way I use the phone differs from the way you use the phone. I do Wi-Fi, I do web surfing a lot over Wi-Fi, more than I do 3G. I also use YouTube app a lot. I also I use the social networking apps of Twitter and all these other apps. I've recently started using the location aware stuff. That drains the battery as well. And just a lot of things. The games on here, I play a lot of Angry Birds, and I've recently bought some EA games I have on here. That's my normal usage, and I can get more than a day's usage out of it. I'm talking full day, 24 hours, beyond 24 hours, without charging it. To me, that is a good test. If you want to get beyond 2 days or 3 days, I don't know if the iPhone's going to work for you. But I know from my personal usage and what I've been using the battery for, the things that I do, you will get. Some people use 8 hours as a test because that's the time they're at work. You'll get 8 hours out of it. Now, one of the things that I haven't tested on the 3GS as much, and I wanted to compare that, but I didn't have time, was Pandora. I wanted to do streaming music because now I'm doing that on here, and I'm still getting more time than I did on my 3GS. So that's kind of cool. But I haven't been able to do Pandora audio streaming on my 3GS just yet. I haven't been able to do it because when iOS 4 came out, this literally followed like a day after. So really didn't have time to break in the 3GS with iOS 4 and the Pandora streaming. But the battery life, I gotta say, it's improved for me. You may find other people reviewing the phone may have different experiences. Mine is positive. It's more than what I used the 3GS for. Now, another topic I want to discuss is call quality. This has been a very, very controversial topic on the iPhone 4. Yes, you knew it was coming. And it has to do with the external antenna, the entire bar around the outside of the iPhone. Apple did a design change to where they put the antenna on the outside instead of on the back or wherever it was before. Now, with me, and the way I've been using this phone, the way I hold the phone, the way I use the phone, I've been noticing, let me give you guys, before I even talk about the specifics of the controversy, let me give you guys a quick case study here. In my office, which is right here, this is the part of the house where I have the least amount of signal. I'll be very, very fortunate to get 1 bar, maybe 2 bars. I think the most I've had in here is 2 bars, maybe 3 sometimes, but it'll drop to no bars all the time in here. And as a result, I would not be able to take work calls on my cell phone. I would always have to take them on the landline. I would never have to do conference calls on my iPhone, or as a result, it could be a drop call. So I didn't want to do that, especially for work. So I decided to try it. I was very brave. Some pretty important calls. I decided to try to use this phone in my office because if I did take a call on here, people do call me on it from work. If I do take a call, I usually walk around the living room or walk around the house as I'm talking because I get better reception out there than I do in here. Let me tell you guys that even with, I think I'm getting, let's see, I got 2 bars now. You can't see it, but I got 2 bars on this guy. 0 drop calls. And that's with me holding it. That's with me talking on it. I hold the phone like this. You see I'm holding the phone right now? This is how I hold the phone in both hands. I'm right-handed and I hold in my left hand more than I do in my right. So this is how I hold the phone. And, if I'm on a long conference call, I'll put it down, I'll put it on the speaker, and so on and so forth. No drop calls. 0. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I've only had 2 total drop calls in 2 weeks of calling. 2 total. That's an improvement over the 3GS. In the 3GS, especially in this office right here, I had a ton of drop calls. A ton. I mean, I couldn't take calls in here. So I'm getting better, improved reception, call quality in here with my iPhone. Now, this is a very, very personal case. It's not going to apply to everybody. I'm quite sure a lot of you out there are having drop calls with the iPhone 4 and AT&T. And, it's a function of the phone, and it's a function of AT&T as well. So I really believe that, from a review perspective of the iPhone 4, that I could say that I'm getting better call quality and better call reception no matter how I use the phone. Now, before I continue, let me talk about, why I'm not talking about iOS 4, because I think iOS 4 is kind of a separate discussion from the iPhone hardware. And I'm more focusing on the hardware-software combination that's unique to the iPhone 4, more so than I am on iOS 4. So I'm not going to cover iOS 4 in this review. Now let's talk about opportunities for improvement or things that I just really didn't like on the iPhone. Number 1, the iPhone 4. Number 1, the SIM card slot. The SIM card slot requires a great deal amount of pressure, a great deal amount of force to get the thing to pop out. Way too much. When I was at the AT&T store, the lady couldn't do it. I mean, she was scared to break the phone, but she just couldn't do it. And every time I did it, I literally had some deep, marks in my thumb from pushing down on this little release thing. Now it makes a hard snap when you take the SIM card card slot out, so you know you got it out. But man, it is way too much pressure to take it out. I don't know if it's unique to my phone or what, but the previous iterations, the 3GS, the 3G, and the previous iPhone, they were very easy to take out, and they should be. Especially for people like me who have multiple phones. I still have my BlackBerry and I still have my Nokia that I use from time to time. And I want to take the SIM card out and put them in those. I don't want to have to draw blood from my thumb to do that. So, man, the design is good on the iPhone 4, but you guys really need to improve this SIM card slot. Because you're going to have some people breaking thumbs nationwide. Thumb breakage. Not a good thing. Now, another opportunity for improvement that I think the iPhone could benefit from is the antenna. Now, like I talked about before, there was an issue because there's two main antennas with the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and the 3G reception. You know, they got it broken out on two different sections of the iPhone, and they got these little black bars which separate them different locations. Now, there's been a lot of controversy and even lawsuits around when people bridge the gaps between those two antennas and cause signal attenuation. And what does that mean? That means that when they hold it like this, not only are they so-called shorting out the antennas, but they're also blocking, because the 3G antenna is on the right side of the phone. When you hold it to your face, it's on the right side. You guys are looking at it right here, and you have your fingers over that. You're giving it two levels of attenuation. Not only are you shorting out the antenna with your palm, but you're covering up most of the antenna with your fingers. So as a result, you are really degrading the signal. But like I told you guys before, I'm experiencing better call quality and less drop calls. So while this design presents an improvement over signal and over reception, there is a huge trade-off. Because of that, you know, the way that people use the phone in their left hand or right hand, whatever you may have, there's a higher chance that flaw could be more than what the benefit could be. Let me try to explain that again. You know, you got the benefit of the antenna being on the outside, but you know, you may have a great deal more people who are negating that advantage by holding the phone a certain way. You know, when Apple came out and said that, you know, you could use a bumper, buy a bumper, it'll fix it. Any case will fix it, because you're not going to be covering up any case that covers up the side where you don't short out the antenna, and you won't have skin-to-skin contact with the antenna. You know, your hands and stuff won't hurt the signal. So I really believe that that's an opportunity for improvement. Like I said, for me, it is an improvement overall over the 3GS, but it's a risk. It's a huge, huge risk. And now that this story's out, everybody's, and I still believe it's overblown, because it is. Every phone has signal attenuation to some degree. This one has more than others. That's a problem, but it's not the end of the world. But to take that risk is a problem. And I think it's an area that the iPhone 4 can be improved on. So if someone asks you, Bwana, or whoever you are, you're not named Bwana, but someone asks you what is the number one or number two problem with the iPhone, you're gonna say the antenna. Even though it's not a huge problem, it is a problem. And I think Apple knew about it. I think Apple saw the risk versus reward, and they made a decision that the reward was worth the risk. Time will tell. They plan to issue a software update to increase the accuracy of the bars, which is not going to help the signal. Like I said, I get 1 to 2 bars in here at the most, so when they give me the update, I'm probably going to always show no bars, but I'm able to hold a call, you know, no matter how I hold the phone. And it all depends on signal strength. You know, the more signal you have, you know, the less effect the attenuation is going to have. I mean, if you go in an area, and I've done this, when I went to a couple of hotels when I went out, I had fully bars, and no matter how I held the thing, I squeezed it. I mean, I was trying everything. I didn't lose any signal according to the bars. But I think the risk, guys, is great, and I think that's a legitimate problem, and I think Apple should be concerned about it. Another area I think Apple could have improved on is the design. Like I told you guys in the beginning, the design is very, very gorgeous. It looks like a work of art. But mobile phones should be thought of as something that can be dropped often. I know everybody's out there saying, well, just get a case, just get a case. But yeah, you got to think about that kind of stuff when you design a phone. And having a glass back, which they claim is very strong, I still feel like I can break it if I drop it anywhere. And, you know, I still have that feeling that I have to baby it, that I have to burp. I have to do that to the phone. I don't know why I just burped my iPhone. That's going to come back to bite me. But you really have to consider that when you're designing a phone. You know, it can look good and everything, it can be striking, but you got to have practical usage for the thing. I mean, you can't just throw glass on stuff that's going to be dropped. You know, that's pretty much what it comes down to. So I think that's a shortcoming of the iPhone. While the design is very nice, very striking, very just jaw-dropping, I don't think it's very practical. And I like the bumper. I like what the bumper does. You know, there's other cases out there similar to the bumper that might be a little cheaper and provide more protection. And I think Apple was thinking about the glass when they did the bumper because it lifts the iPhone off the table a little bit. As an aside, since this is an Apple product, I put the bumper on the phone. And one of the shortcomings of the bumper is that the mute switch is almost impossible to reach with normal fingers. I mean, if you got a fingernail, you can get to it pretty easily. But since this is an Apple product, I thought I'd just throw that in there about the bumper. That, you know, the buttons, all the other buttons around the bumper work well, except for that. It's kind of not accessible. So overall, I think the iPhone 4 is a success. I think it is an improvement over the 3GS. I think it's an improvement definitely over the 3G in the previous iPhone iterations. And I'm going to give it a recommendation. If you're in the market for a new iPhone, if you're sitting on a 3G, you know, this is a very, very attractive upgrade. If you're on the fence about upgrading from a 3GS, it's a little bit more difficult because the 3GS still is up there in terms of speed and what it can offer in terms of camera quality and video recording capabilities and all the different multitasking features that are in iOS 4. But the iPhone 4 offers the HD front-facing camera, you know, some of the gyroscope features that I didn't talk about because I didn't get a chance to use it that much. Some of the unique features of the iPhone 4 may make it worth your while to upgrade, especially as new apps come out which take advantage of all these new features. So, overall, guys, it is a great phone. Definitely the best iPhone to date. Whether it's the best smartphone in the market right now remains to be seen. I don't know if that's the case anymore. You know, as of the 3GS, you know, I was quite sure that I would not consider any other phone out there. But now that we've got a lot more other phones out there that are taking Apple's challenge, you know, the gap between, you know, just usability and cool factor and what's available and apps and things, that gap is shortening quickly. So it's not a clear-cut winner in terms of the best smartphone in the market right now. But it's my favorite. You know, if you look at it from a practical perspective, you know, just jot down features, facts, and all this stuff. You know, it's not clear cut anymore. But it is definitely my favorite. I'm an iPhone fan. I use the iPhone way, way more than I use any other mobile device that I've ever had. So that speaks volumes in itself. So once again, I want to thank Jim48116 for providing this review iPhone for me. I thank you, Jim. This has been a very unique experience. I've done a lot of different things, taken a lot of videos, taken a lot of pictures, made a lot of calls, put this thing through the paces, and it has come out a winner. You know, we can't forget about the shortcomings of the glass design, of the antenna, and just the bumper case and other things that I didn't talk about in extensive detail that, you know, are little minor quirks. But I think the iPhone 4 is a winner, guys. So I want to thank you all for sticking with me this long. Thank you for watching the iPhone 4 review. And when the iPhone 5 or whatever comes out, hopefully I'll be able to review that as well. This is Bwana from Bwana.tv, and I will see you next time.